Sometimes we take a look at YouTube comments, and this is from Rick S. And he says, "You kindly directed me here in a recent YouTube comment query. Thank you. I will try to qualify my many questions by considering how it could benefit others, how it could be interesting to others, how important it is to me personally, as I wish to be considerate of Tom's time. I would love to share some background about how I learned about Tom, where I am with it, what I'm personally challenged with in my efforts to explore and advance, and why and the what, etc. But for now, the short of it is I've read Bob Monroe's books and the MBT trilogy. I'm 61 years old, and I wish I had made better use of the first 55 of them. Don't we all? I have been deaf in 1 year since birth. My forward progress has been frustratingly low, experience-wise, although abundantly researched. I've had one short experience via the Intro Wave 1 audio. I'm not familiar with that one. That might be Monroe Institute. An emotional visit with myself. So that is to offer you some reference to apply to my first question, which I hope I chose well. I suspect there might be quite a number of people who have a comparable mastery of their consciousness, as Tom does, or sufficient enough while remaining out of the public eye. I would expect that all who could would do what I would do, given the uncertain and precarious times we live in. What will tomorrow bring?
So it would seem that the question in all of that is, where are we going? Well, I've talked about that a few times, about we're at the knee of the curve of evolutionary change of consciousness, that things are happening more quickly now. We've made more progress in the last 100 years than we had in the 200 or 300 years before that, and we've made a lot more progress in the last 500 years than probably a couple of millennia before that. And so it's speeding up, and we're moving toward this concept that we've been talking about, that love is the answer, that being nice is better than being selfish. So there is one other thing that I could add to that, though. You know, he can find that in my YouTube videos. If he wants to look to the website and then use that little search engine that searches all the videos by topic and put in, what's the future look like? And he'll get probably a dozen videos that will go through that in detail. But I've just come up with, and when I say that, I'm talking about like 2 days ago, with another big picture understanding that tells a little bit more about how consciousness evolves and the process that it goes through and how that process works. As say a human race, as we lower our entropy. What happens? How does that process work? And where are we now in it? And I made a little rough recording of that, like on a cell phone, at the at the time of first voicing it. And in another couple of weeks, as soon as I get time, I'm going to do a more thorough talk about exactly how things change, why they change, what are the forces involved, how do those forces regain balance, and then I look at the landscape that we have in front of us, with the changes we've seen in the last 50 years. There's been a lot of changes around here in 50 years. And I talk about the pressures that have created them. By that pressure, I mean the pressure within consciousness, within collective consciousness of humanity, and how those pressures build, and how that then creates kind of a different set of attitudes on the new people being born here, and so on. So that's coming. I'd say hold on. In a month or so, you'll have a much more in-depth treatise about how that works and where the future might take us, how this looks like it's going to play out in the future. Now, it's similar to the things I said before, but a lot more detail, a lot deeper looking at the mechanism of how it works. So stand by. we'll talk. I'll get to that probably in the next month or two. My next couple of months are going to be really, really busy. But eventually I'm going to discuss that.
Well, that sounds really interesting and something new. So, Rick, I'm sure you'll be interested to see that. And your question, how about that? What will tomorrow bring is really timely. Thanks, Tom. You have more power than you think. Hi, this is Donna from MBT Events. I have had the privilege to work with Tom Campbell for nearly 20 years now, and I can tell you from the feedback received through all those years that he has improved and changed thousands of lives with his My Big Toe theory. As a physicist and explorer of the larger reality, Tom has developed a program where you can learn to access and develop your natural ability as consciousness. His expertly crafted binaural beats are included. Details are in the description below. Thank you.
I and MBT Events hope you like this video. If you do, then you should consider being a Patreon member, because Patreon members get early access to our special content. You will also be able to get your questions answered by me in special Q&A sessions, and most importantly, your contribution as a patron member will enable us to produce the content that you're looking for. So thank you.